Welcome to Cannabis School. I'm your host, Jesse Angeles.
And I'm Brandon Elder.
And we're here to talk to you about everything pertaining to cannabis, from vape,
Flower,
edibles,
strains,
and everything in between. Welcome back, and we are here with another wonderful Tuesday, but we're changing up things, guys. Has this episode's felt stale?
I mean, I've got bored.
I'm bored.
Have you gotten bored?
You guys are definitely...
Yeah, you guys were fucking bored.
And we got to tell you guys, you guys are awesome. You guys still love us. The die-hard, like, yeah, I still like it. Like, hey, if you guys feel like we're kind of slacking off, we've had it happen before. We've had people comment and going, hey, you change it up. So... for that reason, today, we're going to talk about weed and your body and why it hits everyone different.
Yeah, because everyone, I mean, we talk about it all the time. Everyone's endocannabinoid system, everyone's genetic breakdown, everyone's body composition is different.
Totally
from me,
different.
To you, to my neighbor, to your family. Like, everyone is different.
And the deep dive that we went into really illuminated quite a few different things that we didn't think about.
Yeah.
Like your metabolism, your hormones, everything. So we're going to go over that today.
And we're not checking out a specific strain today. However, we are checking out the Ember, the newest addition from Dragonfly Wellness. And this is their dryer vaporizer.
Now, I got to tell you, this thing, we tried it out yesterday. Holy shit. This is the coolest vaporizer. I know. Stores and Pickle's going to be like, dude, it's $400 for a venti?
Yeah. I mean, and this is 80. However, unfortunately, this is only a Utah product currently. So you can only get this at a Dragonfly Wellness dispensary. You might, probably. I don't know if any other state
at the moment, not at the moment. And why do we love this so much?
How many times did you cough yesterday when you and me and Nerith were having a session? A big fat bagel, right?
None.
Yep.
Like right now, I'm at 372 degrees. Now, on my Mighty Plus, I'm coughing. First 5 hits, I'm coughing. And even later on, if I take a deeper hit. But these ones are awesome. Look at this. No interference.
Oh, with the mics either. That was my curiosity. And I was like, we'll have to test it today and see, because the venti, I love the venti, but that is my biggest thing, is it's got that lightsaber feedback. But if you're not using a mic, it doesn't really matter.
Well, and the key behind it is a zirconium, kind of like a corkscrew filter that they have in here. And what that zirconium metal does is it actually cools down the hit before it hits you. Now, because it's receiving all that, dude, on the way home, I got home, because we used it so much, it was so fucking hot. So we went through probably about 6 bowls out the box.
Yeah, fresh.
And it wasn't, dude, I was still a little over a quarter.
Did you run it dead before you charged it, or did you just kind of...
Almost to the very end. But I did 7 bowls out of it yesterday, dude, total. And it was hot only when I was coming home. But the cool thing is, not a big deal. Aluminum. A magnetic tip. It's awesome.
Ooh, and the bowl is like a ceramic glass.
Yeah.
So everything dumps out nicely. It doesn't get all stuck and gross in there. It's been really, really nice.
It's clean too. Like, it's so easy to empty out. But yeah, guys, it's super cool. If you're in Utah, go up to Dragonfly. Ask them about the Ember. This thing is awesome. They're actually making vaporizers cool to smoke weed, dude.
And I like how small it is. This was actually pocket-sized. Once I pulled mine out of the box, it was in my pocket for the rest of the day. I forgot it was in there. I was like, holy shit, I can actually carry this around.
Oh, and shit, check this out. It'll balance.
The bottom's flat.
Yeah.
I know. Not shitting on Stores and Pickle, because truly we love their products.
Love them. The venti is different.
It can stand flat. Yeah. But the Mighty Plus, it can't. The Crafty can.
The Crafty can. And I gave that to my soon-to-be new brother-in-law. He's eventually. Wes.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Are they engaged now?
No, but they will.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're already talking about kids and shit, which is really cool.
Wow.
Good to hear about.
Yeah, that's nuts. So everyone's body and why cannabis, THC, CBD, affects everyone differently. obviously we learned a lot about even metabolism and how people's metabolism, because if THC is something that binds to fat cells.
Yeah, it's what's called lipophilic. And what that means is it binds and stores with fat cells in your body. It's not water soluble. So fat, right? Brandon, guess what? Fat people hold in THC longer. But does that mean they get higher?
No. So a lot of the time, it'll actually be like a slower onset. So it takes longer to kick in. But what that will happen is their experience might last a lot longer.
It definitely can. It won't make it stronger, but here's the rub. Heavier people over like, I would say 20% fat would be considered heavier. I'm probably about 20% fat, but it stays in your system longer. And so for drug testing, for those who actually still have to do that.
Well, if you regularly consume, you might be more towards like 30 days or even longer for it to fully get out of your system.
Well, and that's the cool part is the converse. The converse is that Brandon, because he's so fucking skinny, his metabolism runs at a hamster that's on crack on a wheel.
And that wheel is run by like a Ferrari, and it's got to keep up. And so for some reason, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But there's cool things that he could be able to do. One of them, he can be able to eat fat or fat products. Now, it's not like saying, hey, Brandon eats spoonfuls of Crisco.
Just on the weekends.
Just on the weekend. But you got to think about the animal fats, dairy products, things like that. They are recommended. But here's the other thing, too. Nuts are really good for high metabolism. And the reason why what I read about is that it just helps prolong it longer.
Yeah, they're high fat, high calorie. Like, I didn't actually realize that until Emily, she's counting calories because they're 75 hard and that.
Oh, that's cool.
And last night she was like, oh, can I take some of these pistachios? And I was like, fuck yeah. So she's weighing them out. And I look over and she's literally got like maybe a handful. She's like, oh my God, that's like 220 calories. Like, really? That doesn't seem like a lot. And I would eat 10 times that in a sitting, no problem, just because I'm munchy.
Well, and that's the crazy thing too, man. It's like, when your body is taking in THC, because our endocannabinoid system is different from the next. And one of the things that I really liked about with fats is that preparing and prepping before a half hour earlier, and this is for people who have fast onset and then it leaves fast, you can prolong it. Now, the difference is eating and smoking it. Now, if you eat it, it'll affect it. If you smoke it, a little bit maybe. And
It'll
that's more in
affect
the
what?
terpene process, making it stronger or lasting longer.
Oh, yeah. Because having a fat or food in your body can definitely like affect that experience. Now, the thing that didn't make any difference was like water. If you had water in your body, that didn't affect the amount of like potency of high or amount of high that you experienced from that. One of the really interesting things, and I have to see if there's more research or that on it, was the difference between one of the differences between men and women.
Oh, yeah. This is so cool.
And it was talking that like women, because estrogen is a very big factor in the effects of cannabis.
And especially during ovulation.
Yeah, that like when they're more going through their cycle, there's different stages where they will actually feel more like pain relief from cannabis. They'll feel like more euphoria. But the interesting thing was, it was claiming that they're more prone to like higher anxiety and to addiction or like dependency. They get a tolerance faster, is what I meant to say, than male counterparts, potentially.
They can, definitely can.
Not overall every single person, but like...
more in your chronic users.
Yeah, they found that overall statistic within like, oh, hey, as an average, this is more common that way. And I was like, they found that it wasn't testosterone, wasn't a big playing determining factor. It was more the estrogen and progesterone. So even a male, like, it wasn't really our testosterone that played a factor in the
lower
effects.
Testosterone.
Yeah.
The lower testosterone you have, the more introspective, the more emotional you will be on cannabis. You are more sensitive. Now, I can actually attest to this. Now, I've been on testosterone replacement for the last 3 months. My highs are different. They're totally different now. They don't last as long.
I was going to ask about that because it mentioned that, and it was like, different hormones, and that can actually affect that depending on, like taking tea. Or like a woman in her certain stages of the cycle and that. And I thought that was really interesting. But even along those cycles, our natural circadian rhythm that happens in our body. So it was saying that naturally first thing in the morning, there's a really high level of cortisol present in the human body.
Well, you know why?
No.
Because the body is getting ready. So your liver also dumps in a good amount of sugar into your system to give you
While
fuel.
you sleep?
No, when you wake.
Oh, first thing. Okay.
So when you wake, you're getting hit with that, with the cortisol and all that one, because it's preparing you to be able to run in case you need to run. Because, the whole idea of breakfast and shit like that, it's a fairly new concept. Like, oh, let's sit down and enjoy some eggs. Like, it doesn't work that way. It didn't for a really long time. You just ate when you were hungry.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
or when
farm
the food
people
was
didn't.
Available, or
Yeah.
You're not, yeah.
I mean, what did they do? Like, farmers, cowboys, they just drank coffee. They just drank coffee. They're like, have a cup of Joe and go out and do my thing.
I mean, I can do that for a little bit, but then if I don't have anything in my body starts eating itself, and I'm like, bro, you have nothing on you. Like,
yeah, but I mean, if you're used to it, right? And that's another thing too that's really cool when we were talking about fat, is the long duration and weird potential side effects of cannabis in your system if you have a higher body fat content. So one of the things that happen, working out can release stored THC where you feel euphoric.
A little bit more mild, not like quite the original experience, but that you could experience like a second coming around of your cannabis. Well, it's
days later, weeks later.
Same with even getting massage, though. I don't have a lot of fat, but there's times that I'll go and get a massage that right after the massage, I feel really high. And I'm like, holy shit.
The prostate massage really gets
Yeah, every time. No, I like wearing my sunnies and stuff because I'm like, I feel like I am so squinty and like it's crazy. And and every time like I'll get my massage and then he's my friend. Like, and sometimes I feel like I'm so high that I don't really like give her a hug or say goodbye like I normally do. And then after when I get to the car, I'm like, holy fuck. Like I feel pretty toasty. I text her, I'm like, I'm sorry, like I feel pretty toasty there. I don't know, like I didn't even say goodbye normal. I just like walked out and
wild. Isn't that crazy?
Super weird.
Like it can just come out anywhere from sweating to just randomly, but it says typically like in workouts where like, or fasting can trigger it because it starts to go after the fat
cells that are storing it in your body already.
So that's really good for people who are poor because, if you can't eat.
Just starve yourself and you'll get high again.
Dude, no longer do you need to sift through the fucking bowl of roaches.
Just go without a meal or two.
Well, and fasting is really good. I do quite a bit of fasting still to this day. I don't do it intentionally anymore. I just listen to my body. Do I need to eat this morning?
Yeah.
No. Like today, I had a protein shake and that's it.
Okay.
I don't need a meal. I don't need to have a meal. Yeah. And I like that fact. But the one thing that really helps with that one is I can tell when I have a protein shake because it's whey isolate.
Yeah.
It's got fat in it and I add fat to it like with MCT or with like coconut oil or something like that just to be able to help onboard it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fantastic.
That, it makes it so much better of an experience. I was reading that as well when you do introduce like the fat, the food into your diet before you take cannabis, that it actually makes the onset a little smoother too. So it might not be such a abrupt, harsh onset for newer users.
And coming down is softer too, which is really cool. And we're not saying go out there and gorge yourself. Like, you know what? Have a cheese stick.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a lot.
It doesn't have to be a lot. Like you have to realize that
you can do a handful of nuts. You can do peanut butter. You could do avocado. Like there's a million things to do.
Or you could now. Here's the thing too. MCT oil is a fantastic delivery system for it when you're having edibles. So what I was thinking is like it would be really odd. On an early stage, it would be like eat a cheese stick and then maybe 10 minutes later I eat an edible. But for those of us who are getting a little bit more advanced and infuse things, I would recommend doing an infused meal. Now, the infused meal doesn't mean you cook with it directly. You don't have to do that, but you can have it like an infused oil with like a spaghetti or a marinara, or you can do almost anything, but you don't want to add it when it's having to cook for a really long period of time, because then you're going to change.
I like to do it into the sauces or the stuff that I add at the very end.
And yes,
because either I can do it at a simmer at the very end, so it's not very high heat, it's just kind of a finishing touch, or I can put it on after, as it's already cooled. I don't have to worry about doing that. Obviously, sometimes I don't get that option because of the meal I'm doing, because of the like method of product I have. Maybe it's an olive oil, and so that has to be used in certain places or stages depending on the meal I'm making.
Yeah, I really want to infuse avocado oil for this very specific reason that it delivers better than olive oil. And it would be, and I actually prefer the taste of avocado oil compared to olive oil, and knowing that a lot of olive oil is just fucking yuck. But you know what? It's better than the corn oil. So,
that's true. Or like vegetable oil and stuff.
One of the things, too, to be able to think about, now it's not all sunshine and rainbows when it comes to hormones and THC. Some of the things, especially with chronic use, it can affect mood, libido, and menstrual regularity with women. That was crazy. It will mess up their menstrual cycles if they're in chronic use. So chronic use means Brandon and Jesse use. If you're using as much as we do,
it could affect your cycle.
Because I know it does affect men. It can affect their libido. If you're a high T, it's all linked to CB1. That's why women during their period, their CB1 receptors are much more sensitive to being able to pick up, and that's why they enjoy the euphoria. But again,
well, it says they also are like 30% higher.
Yeah.
30%. They experience 30% more pain relief from cannabis during those stages of their menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
Which is nuts to think about, like that your body naturally would give you a 30% increase in the pain relieving properties that you're experiencing from this plant just because of that time of the month that you're in.
Yeah, totally. And, when I was thinking about on the testosterone side, because one of the things, like the effects of low testosterone is stronger psychoactive response. So if you're getting like, if you're a guy and you're like, oh dude, I would love to use cannabis, but I just get so anxious, go get your testosterone checked. Your free testosterone will drop lower, and that can create anxiety in men when their free is too low. And cannabis has been known to suppress your free. So, which was crazy because when I got mine tested, I was pretty high, but my overall wasn't as high. It was like 315. But I was like, fuck, that's low. And he's like, no, dude. My dog's like, no. I've seen guys on like 100, 117. I'm like, holy shit, what's there? And he goes, bad mood, no drive, can't do anything. So also, but on the other side of that effect, if you are on a cycle, if you're a bodybuilder, or you're just like, dude, Tren would be awesome to inject because I always wanted to know what it feel like to be a fucking psycho. Start using more indicas, because if anxiety is a lot of part of that, use indicas to be able to level you out. If you're finding yourself being not very intelligent, and there is a direct correlation with a lot of testosterone use and
not being very intelligent.
Nope. You just become dumber. But it definitely will help. And actually go more towards edibles, guys. So I know you can't eat fats and stuff like that, but think about MCT as opposed to that one, very clean.
It was weird. And I mean, I noticed this constant correlation with it was a lot of the stuff that they mentioned was like dosing.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like cannabis, it's biphasic, where low doses, it'll often have the opposite effect that it does in high doses. Where it's like, hey, many users found that in low doses, they didn't get anxiety, but really, really high doses, they did get anxiety. Well, yeah, duh. That's pretty common for almost anyone, unless you are a really highly developed user or someone with a really unique endocannabinoid system or unique body composition. Like, it went into a lot of things about like depression. If you're a deep predisposition to be depressed or like anxious, that you're more likely to experience it if you're doing like high doses and trying to navigate it with that versus Smaller doses are better to manage anxiety and even depression. But again, like most things, we talk about it, it's not a cure-all. It doesn't address the root cause of your anxiety
It's
or
a tool,
depression.
not the cure.
Yeah, you still have to navigate through that because they're like, well, some people end up getting heavy abuse with it and find that it doesn't help. Yeah, because again, they're trying to like drink the pain away or do this. It's not addressing the cause. It's just trying to put a Band-Aid on it going, I don't want to feel this. Well,
Yeah.
there's other ways to navigate that, to be introspective, to feel this, to think and process and work through it and move on. Like, you know,
Set and setting, dude. It's super important.
part of it too.
Yeah, you when you're starting that, because it's gonna. That's another thing. Your mood will change. Like if it, again, it's an enhancer, and so if you go into smoking where you're really anxious and high, and you're just grabbing whatever. I have this pen. Why do we always say keep a variety of products? Is it expensive? Not really. You could get a good amount of stuff from your dispo. You don't have to get the crazy expensive shit. You could probably leave it there with like 2 to 3 products under $100.
Yeah, just get something that's good.
Yeah.
Not bottom shelf usually, just good quality.
Yeah.
And you know,
But talk to the bud tender. Ask him about the terpenes. Your high anxiety. What's going to help me there? Linalool, limonene.
definitely little. Limonene can exacerbate it just depending on the person.
And the strain,
but
too.
a lot of the time it is a mood enhancer. So like having limonene with your, like if you aren't in a great place, or linalool, like those are fantastic for that type of thing.
Yeah, myrcene, osamine, that's why you get the heart thumpers for a little bit where your heart's going up because of that. It's just trying to get more of it into the system, but they all do something different. And that's why it's so important to have a variety, because if you go to one strain and that's all you depend upon because you just love the way it feels, then you're going to get kind of locked into this because it will change. Your body, depending on mood, your metabolic rate, how much you slept. I mean, dude, it's like being a high-performance athlete.
The experience you think you will get, because people will have found, like they've found with research on this, that some people will go into the experience thinking, oh, I'm going to feel anxious, I'm going to feel this. That is the experience they will have.
Dude.
But it's also societal. Like, how is your family, your friends, how does your group of people perceive this? Are you in a legal place that you have this fear and anxiety of getting busted for this? Like, all of these factors play a part in how this plant affects you, in the like experience that you have. And something as simple as that is like, crap, I'm hiding this from my kids, my partner, my work, whoever. There's that fear, that like anxiety around this. Oh, if I get caught, if I get busted, if I get this, like, what is that conversation going to be? What is that like? Because it's all these million ideas and scenarios that we play out in our mind of like what ifs that like 95% of those probably never, ever happen in our entire life.
Yeah, well, and I mean, and that was another point that I was reading about was if you are trying to stress yourself out before that, like going through it, look at what you are smoking, because it will help you to understand those terpenes and you don't need to be a fucking scientist. You just need to be able to read and going, hey, what does this do to my body typically? Not for everybody, but should I be feeling these things? What are the counters? What are some of the other things you could do? Like, you want to go like low bar, just go to Leafly and just kind of look around there. People that like, they'll have the ratings over there, but that's all built on users. And so you're getting a lot of stoners in there going, oh man, it was awesome. Yeah. It's just like cool. And then you hear like these detailed stories like, yep, this is bad thing happened, but I still think it's great. Like, even when weed's bad, it's still really good.
Yeah. Well, it's usually dosing. It's the situation.
100%.
It's the setting, whatever our mind is thinking about at that time. So there's so many factors that really play a role in that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's behoove you to be able to kind of look at what are you putting in? What's your purpose? From what I read, edibles are great for women pre and during their menstrual cycle. It's a fantastic thing, being able to combine that with fats. A really good thing is dark chocolate will enhance your high. That made sense because as long as it's 20%
Pretty
higher,
good. Yeah.
because we did it with
20%.
20%.
That's a really low. Huh.
They said 20% or higher. If you're going really high with it, it's the fat in it that keeps it in there, plus the chemical that's in chocolate.
Huh. I want to get your opinion on this.
Yeah.
And everyone at home, I'd love for you guys to chime in. I was looking at a lot of comparisons. It was talking about like adolescent brains, even 20s to 25, and then older brains. And it was going, hey, that people who are younger actually experience more highs and more of this, but we all know that that correlates with having more CB1 receptors. And the younger you are, the more CB1 receptors you have. So the higher opportunity for it to bind to more receptors. And older people might not experience as high of highs, even though they usually have more body fat, less water in their body, so it dilutes it less, like all of these. And my wondering was, and obviously it's just theory, but like, is the reason we're so, like, there's so much paranoia about how it affects children, and that is because of those CB1 receptors and that. But we've noticed that they even say the more you use cannabis, the less CB1 receptors you have, because it doesn't need as many, so you don't get as high usually because of that experience. But do the number of CB1 receptors correlate to any type of intelligence or ability to retain memory or like anything like that in the long term? Or is it just more of the factor of like, hey, it's kids, it's taboo, we don't want our kids to have this, look at this effect, look how high they have that effect. But really, if they understood, well, there's more receptors, so that would be the natural experience they would experience, because that's just science.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I don't.
And I thought about Riley Kirk too when I was going through this. Dr. Riley Kirk, and she's been smoking since she was like 14, right?
She's pregnant right
Here's
now.
the issue.
Yeah.
Weed was different then. Weed has been altered big time within just the last, I would even say the last 4 years, even last 2 years, it has been altered to be stronger.
Yeah.
So in these tests, and I agree with that, it's like, is it taboo? Looking at most of them with the age of development, right, where they can actually have, where their hormones, and that again, that's to think about as well. It's not just the brain elasticity, because that's what they're more worried about. Now, in mild to moderate use, it's okay.
So that's what, in my mind, I'm thinking, so if they've got a ton of CB1 receptors.
Totally.
So for me, where I might not have as many, and for me to experience the same type of euphoria even as you, I might have to take a ton more to get the same even medicinal benefit that I might need.
Correct.
So as a kid who has 1 million CB1 receptors, not statistically that actual number, but like a lot more maybe in comparison to someone who's older, could they get the same therapeutic medicinal benefit that I do in a microdose? Because what they need is such a tiny dose, because it isn't needing all of this, because they have so many more receptors. They could still maybe potentially gain benefit, but again, microdosing doesn't give those same long-term damaging concerns that they're like, oh, this.
Well, and you're exactly right, because it's the chronic use. It's kids smoking every day, multiple times a day.
Well, and to get high out of their mind. So really high doses again. So in my mind, I'm like, well, what if it's a microdose? What if it's a low dose? Is there medicinal value and benefit that even a teens or 20-year-old could get from that?
I agree with that.
And again, would it just come down to dosing, cannabinoid profile, and maybe going, you don't need crazy high THC because you've got all these receptors? Like, I don't know. I'm not. There's not a lot of studies out there, because it's all just pulled from different areas of, like, what was it called? The specific type of data, and it's just kind of like gathered, compiled data from many sources of all these different things, not like, hey,
small
we did
pockets
this
here or there, because they
specific
can't do
study
big studies
that showed this, because no one's going to study cannabis on their kid. Like, it's not going to happen. So that's what I'm very curious on, is like, if that was effectively studied, but I
think it's case by case again, but I think though I'm with you, because I think that tinctures would be by far, for me right now, thinking about it, the bioavailability and the long-term use where you can treat it like medicine. The only issue I have with vapes and flower, it's easy for them to not understand dosing.
Yeah. Well, and this is, again, like, because it talked about society. And if you grow up in a society where you learn that cannabis is medicine, it has all these properties and benefits and values, your approach will be different, your experience will be different most of the time because of all of these factors. So if you educate them on that, maybe they're not going to go in with the high dose, with all of that, because they'll approach it with a more respectful thing of like, I know what this is, I know what this does. I don't need to be afraid of this. I need to, kind of like mushrooms.
Oh, dude.
I need to respect this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, the set and setting. It's a mild psychedelic in some form. So it's the same thing of like, I need to respect that set and setting. Who are the people I'm with? What is the music I'm listening to? What is the headspace I'm in? You know, am I out and about in public and fearful because I'm going to get caught or busted?
Yeah.
You know, or am I at home in my room and my parents are upstairs and I'm trying to blow it out the window because I'm trying to be sneaky?
Oh, dude. I had that happen in my house. My son, Nick, comes upstairs all dead. I'm smelling weed downstairs. I'm like, oh. I go down there. First thing I'm like, did you take my shit? And he goes, no. That's even worse.
You're like, then what the fuck are you smoking?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Where did you get it?
I was pissed. I was like, you don't know what the fuck's in that.
No.
I don't trust your fucking friends.
That's the thing I hate. Like, I don't want my kids to ever get to the point that they steal it or that they do that. Luckily, I'm so far at the stage that I haven't had to worry about them trying to consume.
Nope.
But I do know that when it gets to that stage, like, it's that fear of quality of product and going, shit, I wouldn't want them to steal from me, but I'd rather them consume my products than just a random one that I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and some people may sit on the fence at that. They might go, well, you know, are you that parent who would give alcohol to them? One, no.
No.
Two, I would rather know what they're putting into their body, especially when it's like this. And that's why I'm a huge advocate for figuring out a dosing schedule with tinctures. And tinctures would be a great way to go with that one. Yeah.
There's a lot
I'll talk about that offline, but
there's a lot of stuff around autism now that I'm seeing.
Oh, yeah.
Even with more like CBD studies and that are coming out, or strains they're trying to navigate and create with that. Which tinctures 100% would be the way to dose because you can like 1 milligram.
Bioavailability. I mean, if you're making it with MCT oil, I mean, you're already fast tracking it to your body. Like, it's what I love that you make, because I know other people that will do it with like fucking olive oil. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh,
like
I've done that for cooking, but that's only for cooking. And then again, like you said, avocado oil would be way better for that.
Oh, it'd be tastier.
So, yeah, it would be.
MCT's like, it's not bad, but it almost like tastes like lube. you know what I mean? Not that I know. No, I know.
Well,
I know.
When I went to Denver and they had a cannabis infused lube out there years ago. And when we got home, Emily and I were looking at it, and the ingredients were literally just MCT oil infused with cannabis. And I was like, what the fuck? I can make this at home for like 10 cents on the dollar, like 3 cents on the dollar. Like, why am I going to go pay? Because I think it was like $60-$70 for this little tiny bottle of like infused lube stuff.
We're going to have to do a whole episode on sex and marijuana. Like, dude,
100%.
we got to look it up. And I mean, we got to try this shit out too. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, wow, the start of Brandon and Jesse's OnlyFans.
Yeah, gross.
Have not really.
Well, Brandon is going to be on there, no, for sure.
Dude,
so here's something I wanted to leave it here at the end. Maybe we'll turn it into a PDF and we'll give it over there. But build a board for a cannabis sesh. So I started thinking about like we could do a charcuterie board, but only a charcuterie board or whatever the fuck.
Charcuterie board.
Charcuterie board. That's fucking funny, dude. It's like wash your sister sauce.
Yep. No, she's got a husband. That's what they're for.
Okay, so we got a couple different things. For your high board, you can do sharp cheddar, strong flavor, plus high fat.
Okay.
So the sharper, it's a little bit fatter, right? Brie or goat cheese, creamy, dreamy, terpene rich.
Cheese. Trader Joe's has this like goat cheese log that's covered in this like blueberry stuff on the outside. That with some fucking, I have these crackers from there. It's so good. I love that.
Dude, that sounds delicious.
I'm actually a really big fan of goat cheese, surprisingly.
I like goat cheese. I like the brie and goat cheese are very similar in texture.
Oh, yeah. They're both, I think brie's a little softer, but like, yeah, they're very.
It's so good though. But I mean, I thought about it. I was like, that'd be kind of cool. And then almonds and cashews. We talked about that earlier. That's going to help support the long time of there.
I like pistachios. I really like pistachios.
Now, the mango slices, dried or fresh, I know there's a big thing about mangoes and all that. You have to have a lot of it.
Just have them for the flavor because they're fucking tasty.
They're delicious.
That's it.
They're amazing. Mm-hmm. Dark chocolate nibs.
Oh, yeah.
The little nibs. So it's the closest to original cacao. Like, it's like not as processed as other chocolates, right? Really good stuff.
Or go get Ritual chocolate bars. Those are definitely the best chocolate I have ever found, and all the ones I get are dark chocolate because that's my favorite chocolate.
I love dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Milk chocolate is just too sweet.
Yeah, I don't like it anymore.
Crackers made from whole grains, kind of just keep things going. But here's a cool one. Cucumbers or pickles. Why? Resets the palate and keeps you grounded. So in those, there's terpenes that help you feel calmer.
Interesting.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Even another weird one, broccoli, cauliflower.
I mean, I love.
They will bring your high down.
What?
Crazy.
Do you know why or what it says that causes that?
For a different episode.
All right. Yeah, we'll go into
vegetables and weed.
Fuck.
And then the last thing, grapes and apple slices. Sugar for light of euphoria. So sugar helps with euphoria, but it won't overkill it. And I think that's a thing like, grapes and stuff like that. Grapes are...
They didn't put olives on there?
Nope.
Who the fuck doesn't put olives on their charcuterie board?
I don't like them.
You don't like olives?
I don't mind them, but...
Black or green or like any of them?
But I think about this whole
pimento, blue cheese stuffed olives?
No. Black olives, I'm good. That's about it. Yeah, I can't really get into them.
I love olives. Black olives, green olives. Like when we do charcuterie boards, we have like tons of different olives. They're fantastic.
I don't know. No, but dude, this was cool. Like I enjoy it. What did you think, man?
It was really interesting. The one thing that I didn't really expect to find, there are terpenes that they have found that they've tested in animals that actually like release cannabis-like effects just from the terpene alone in animal testing. And I was like,
that's crazy. What? Yeah, the coolest thing is how deep this goes, because it's really easy for people to go, I take it, I feel good, or I'm anxious, or I can't go outside because the FBI is trying to get me.
And we like scratch the surface.
We have so many, so guys, expect a lot of these coming out. We're still got strain reviews. Yeah. We're never going to abandon that.
You.
Yeah. And this is a new evolution, guys, so we are excited. Check out Cannabis School. Go over there. We're finding companies to be able to put on approved and getting codes for you guys.
Getting some sweet new devices sent out. I think we're getting a Dr. Dabber for Jesse.
It's a small one too, and I'm super pumped.
Oh my God, I love their products.
You know what, guys? We changed up about the same time. About halfway. Yeah, a couple years ago, we needed to change things up. You guys felt it. You loved it. And now we just made another change. It's still interesting as hell. It's just a little bit more focused.
Catch you next week.
Take care.